Hello everyone. In this lecture, I will talk about securing Kubernetes API access with RBAC policies. RBAC stands for Role-Based Access Control. RBAC in Kubernetes is a security system that controls who can do what within a cluster. It defines who, like users, group, or service accounts, can access which resources like pods, deployment, replica set, etc. and what action they can perform like read, write or delete. So let's start. In Kubernetes, the API server is the central management component that allow users, applications and system components to interact with the cluster. To secure access to the API, Kubernetes provides role-based access control, which allows administrators to define fine-grained permissions for different users and services. RBAC ensures that only authorized entities can perform specific actions on Kubernetes resources, reducing the risk of unauthorized access and potential security breaches. Suppose you have a Kubernetes cluster where a developer, it could be a user or service account, should only be allowed to view the pods in a specific namespace. Suppose I have a namespace with the name of development and I want that a developer service account should have the permission to access the resources within the development namespace. For that, so first of all, you have to create a role. And in that role, you have to specify the permissions like read permission, get permission, list permission, or whatever the permission you want to provide in that role. And also you can define the resources like pod, deployment, RC, etc. and namespace as well. After that, you can bind the role. You can use the role binding to assign that role to the developer's user account or service account. I'm just taking an example. So with this setup, when the developer service account interacts with the cluster, Kubernetes checks the RBAC rules. Since the developer is only granted permissions to view the pods, any attempt to modify or delete pods or access resources outside the allowed scope will be denied. Suppose the developer user account or service account will try to access any other resource in that namespace. Suppose it is trying to access the deployment, so it will not be allowed. And suppose if it is trying to create a new pod within the same namespace, it will be denied. So this approach ensures control access based on the principle of least privilege. So this is the approach of RBAC policies. So that's all. We'll understand more about RBAC in the upcoming lectures.